Hello, everybody. Welcome back to This Day in History. It is June 25th, 2024. I am pressed for time, so I am going to try to breeze right through this. I'm going to start with a birthday starting in 1852. Antoni Gaudí was a Spanish architect born on this day. 1870, Robert Erskine Childers was a writer and a deputy minister of the Irish Republican Army. So he was born. He was actually born in London, but he was an Irish agitator, born in 1870. Born in 1900, the first Earl of Mountbatten, Louis Mountbatten. He was a British statesman. He was born on this day in 1900, and on this day in 1903, George Orwell, who he's an author, wrote a lot of stuff about society and how bad things can get if you let bad people take over. Like George Orwell's 1984, for instance. Good book. You really should read it, and you're going to get a better understanding of the things that are going on in today's world right now, because we're actually seeing it unfold. Recently we talked about Anthony Bourdain and how it was the anniversary of him unaliving himself. Well, it was on this day in 1956 that he was born, and if you don't remember, he was the American chef, author, and he was a TV personality. I'd seen some of his stuff. I actually kind of liked him. I thought he was a pretty decent guy. On this day in 1961, Ricky Gervais, he's a British comedian, not afraid to really rip into people at their expense. He's kind of like the British Don Rickles, only Don Rickles' comedy was more tongue-in-cheek, whereas Gervais is about being sarcastic and the word is right on the tip of my tongue. He's kind of belligerent in a way, but I mean, like, he hosted the awards show a few years back, and he just ripped on everybody. Well, he probably had a couple drinks in him, but he called out the child pedophilia stuff that goes on in Hollywood, and he just ripped on everybody. And it was kind of a breath of fresh air to watch him do his work. He is a funny guy. 1982, Rain was born. Rain is a South Korean singer and actor. And now we get to go into this day in history. On this day in 1243, Sinibaldo Cardinal Fieschi was elected Pope, and he adopted the moniker of Innocent IV. So, Pope Innocent IV, I guess. 1447, Casimir IV, Grand Duke of Lithuania, was crowned King of Poland. In 1530, Augsburg Confession was established, and that was 28 articles constituting the basic confession of Lutheran churches. I don't know if that was like when the Lutheran Church was officially founded or what, but it was the Augsburg Confessions were presented to Emperor Charles V on this day. 1876. This is the day that George Custer would make his last stand at the Battle of Little Bighorn. He would lead the 7th Cavalry into imminent slaughter. He was brash. He was hot-headed. He pissed a lot of people off, including people in his own. He was not a nice guy. In fact, a friend of mine is a direct descendant of him, and he even says that the family was like Custer's wife did a really good job of doing positive PR spin while the kids were growing up, but after they were grown up and then she kind of started to tell the truth of what kind of a dirty dealing bastard he really was. I mean, the guy, he was all about the glory of warfare, and it didn't seem to bother him to kill women and children. Granted, at the time they thought of Native Americans as savages, but still, women and children, non-combatants. At any rate, so he took the 7th Cavalry in, and he thought it was going to be a cakewalk, and didn't realize that, you know, the 5 Sioux nations had gathered together, and they had outflanked them, and Reno and a bunch of other guys were not too far away. Reno claimed up and down, he swore up and down that he never heard the shots fired, and yet they've done ballistics tests of where Reno's position was, and they've gone down to where the battlefield spot was where Custer made a stand, and you could hear the echo of the bullet shots. So Reno lied. Reno didn't like him, so Reno basically left him to hang out to dry. And but yet he's got a city named after him in Nevada, and there was an inquisition, an investigation into the battle and all that, but I mean, he was, no wrongdoing was found. So, but there were mistakes made on all sides there. In 1910, The Firebird premiered in Paris. It's a play. Igor Stravinsky and Michel Fourquin, this was their production. In 1943, the Smith-Connolly Anti-Strike Act was passed, and basically what it did is Congress empowers the president to take over any privately owned plant that is involved with war production. If there was a strike or imminent threat of strike, the president could come in and say, government takeover, because you cannot, you're not striking, you cannot strike, we need this for the war effort, and you cannot hinder the war effort. 1947, Anne Frank's diaries were first published in the Netherlands. 1978 is the first version of the rainbow flag being flown to represent the LGBTQ community. It was in San Francisco. They flew it for the first time at a Gay Freedom Day parade. 1993, Kim Campbell sworn in as Canada's first female prime minister. She'd only hold the position for 5 months. 2009, we have two entertainers that have passed away. Farrah Fawcett was one of Charlie's Angels. She was in some movies. She's done TV work. She was the wife of Lee Majors at one point. She passed away on this day in 2009 at the age of 62. Michael Jackson, who doesn't know who Michael Jackson is, the king of pop. He was originally with Jackson 5, then he went solo and had a lot of hits. Janet Jackson's brother, he died on this day, and I actually remember hearing about this, and it was kind of the talk of the town. He died on this day. It was an overdose, if I recall right, at the age of 50. And the premier event of this day is on this day in 1950 is the day that the Korean War starts, and it was a big dispute over communists trying to take over the country, and the southern part of the country didn't want to take over the country, and so the line was being held at the 38th parallel, which I think over here the 30th parallel is just north of Salem. So taking into context that, where Salem, Oregon sits, and if you go straight across, that's the divider line that separates North and South Korea. Anyway, it was a conflict that went on 4 years, I believe, and we were heavily involved in it. And it's one of those conflicts where there was a ceasefire, but there's never been an armistice signed. So they are actually still in a state of war over there in Korea. It's just that it's the longest running ceasefire that's ever happened. So they've never actually signed an armistice declaring that the Korean War is over. So in a sense, on paper, the Korean War is still going on, if you really think about it. So, anyway, I gotta go. I have to get something to eat. I have to get to work, and that concludes this day in history for June 25th, 2024. We will do it again tomorrow for June 26th. All right. Have a blessed day. Take care. Enjoy the sunshine, blue skies, great weather if that's what you have where you're at. That's what it's like here. But I'm not going to enjoy it much because I got to go to work. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Be blessed.